Welcome to Left, Right, and You with Tim Elenz and Paul Edwards. They're talking current events, politics, local, state, and federal. Now here's Tim Elenz and Paul Edwards and Left, Right, and You.
Hello and welcome to Left, Right, and You on WRMN 1410 AM. And once again, you can reach us on our website, leftrightandyou.com, at Facebook. All you got to do is look up the group, Left, Right, and You, and you can find us there. And we're all over the place. How you doing, Tim?
Good. We need to get rid of these blackberries.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely terrible.
Well,
I'm ashamed to say I'm sitting here writing email because somebody's responded to me on something, so I'm going to put it away.
Well, I like having mine out just in case anyone wants to send us a question on Left, Right, and You on Facebook. That's where I sort of have it opened up that they can do that. And as I see that, I got something from my niece here, but I'm sure it has nothing to do with the show.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it just says I miss you and your family. What a sweetheart.
That's nice. How you doing? What's going on? You were gone for the week.
Yeah, I went to Vegas. And last week I wasn't here because I actually had to pay attention to my day job. I did that.
Did you watch the news? Did you see that we're leading the attack and not the French? Last week it was the French led the attack in Libya. Now it's this week it's us.
Well, two quick things, and I three quick.
I'm sorry, I had
four
to get
quick
pumped
things.
up here
Our guests will not have an opportunity to speak today.
All right,
Okay,
all right,
real quick. Let me weigh in on Libya.
We'll do it later.
I think the president should have went to Congress first. I don't have a problem with his actions. I think he should with what the end was. But when the president spoke yesterday, all you liberals out there, all you Democrats out there, how do you like your candidate stepping up and saying it is the United States' responsibility to be the world police, that we had to do something because it's our responsibility?
Joe Biden. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's big. The whole thing. The Republicans, we're war hawks. We have to police everything, and here it is. The president basically says we are the world police. We had to step in.
Okay.
Is that good or bad?
Right.
And is it when Bush did it? It was bad because it's not as enlightened and as good. And now that Obama's doing it, it's okay.
Okay.
It's
Sorry,
there.
Mike, I get them all right.
I'm gonna.
Where's the Red Bull?
No Red Bull. Well, I had a half a Monster on the way here, and I have caffeinated coffee today. No, so that was my quick things on Libya. One other thing about Libya, what was it? Once again, why are we going in and getting rid of benevolent dictators, at least ones we have under control, but not stepping up against Ahmadinejad? But all the ones that we got under control or who are our allies, we're going to get rid of them. It creates a vacuum. For who? The Muslim Brotherhood. Is it a plan? I don't know. I'm done. Let's get on to our candidate.
All right. Yeah, we were going to give him 15 minutes, so.
I rambled for 4.
All right.
So I'm done.
So go ahead, introduce him.
We have with us a candidate for the Elgin City Council, Michael Curtin. Any relation to Jane Curtin, by the way?
No.
Okay, because Jane Curtin used to come up quite often in our show.
Call Paul an ignorant.
I don't know if you remember that bit from, or are you too young?
I'm too young.
They had point counterpoint, and they used to argue, and Dan Aykroyd would call Jane Curtin an ignorant. Can I say that word on the air?
Can he say SLUT on the air?
Yeah.
I would say no. I'm going to play in caution here.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Wait, they say it on TV.
I don't see the program director running out of the office.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
See, but now I think I just insulted all our listeners because I spelled it, assuming that
it's
they couldn't spell.
It's not one of the 7 words, but go ahead, introduce Mike Curtin.
So we have Michael Curtin, who's running for Elgin City Council. He's a candidate, not an incumbent. We had a brief little discussion. He's originally an Elgin native who went to school in Minnesota. He's highly educated. He's got a bachelor's degree, a master's, a PhD even?
No, I went to University of Buffalo for a PhD, but after my son was born, we had a hard time buying the house we were
okay.
So
you came back, and when you said, hey, where am I going to go? I'm going to go back to the great city of Elgin. And why don't you pick it up from there and tell us really why, how did you progress from returning here, and how did you get involved in your community and come to the decision, I want to be a candidate to help the city?
I just want to interrupt you you got 2 callers online.
Ooh.
One of them, just so you know. So we'll let you just 30 seconds and we'll come back to you.
All right.
Sorry.
We moved back to Elgin, and my wife and I decided we were concerned about the schools and about neighborhood stability and safety, so we decided to get active. So we joined the neighborhood group. I'm currently the vice president of the Southwest Area Neighbors. My wife is the secretary, and I've been attending city council meetings pretty regularly for the last 2 years. we really genuinely want to make this a better place to live for ourselves and for our son.
Okay, very good.
Good.
Who's our callers, Dave?
They dropped.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep talking, Mike.
See? It wasn't you, Mike. It was Paul. He talked too long.
Oh,
All right.
man.
All right, go ahead.
It's always my fault.
Within a month or so of moving in, we had a sewage backup in our basement. And so I was kind of battling the city on that a little bit. And that's essentially why I've been attending city council meetings. I was on a committee, and the city just bid, and the sewer problem is essentially going to get fixed. Originally, when I brought it up, they told me it was going to be about a 30-year timeline to get these fixed, and by the end of this year, phase 1 should be done. So.
And has this been a problem? Has the sewer system, the public works, has it been a problem for a lot of residents in Elgin over the years?
A lot of residents. My neighborhood is probably the worst in terms of overall sewage problems. We have 30, 50 people affected every year. And the problem is that the city's required to submit forms to the EPA. And I wasn't happy with the way these were being submitted, and the city was not reporting sewer backups that were occurring in people's homes. And I told the city that they need to start reporting that to the EPA, and now they're doing that, and good things are starting to happen.
You're pointing out, you're saying that, hey, they weren't reporting things and they needed to report it. When we spoke earlier, you sort of said you'd give me an indication of what your educational background is, and I think it's sort of pertinent in your knowledge of what you just brought up. So tell us a little bit about your educational background and how maybe that helped you in this situation, helping the city get it done right, and how your educational background, how you feel it's going to be bring something to the table that currently isn't on the city council.
Sure. My background is I got a bachelor's in biology, and my master's is in ecology and natural resources. My main expertise is in research methodology. So I've had to take a lot of math and statistics courses and a lot of courses in data analysis. So one of the big things I could add to the city is providing oversight to the research that the city funds. Currently, the city funds about $1 million in research every year, and there is nobody on city council or city staff that is qualified to oversee this. And so we end up with a low-quality product at a very high price. And I'm hoping to fix that and to solve that. And it's not just a cost issue, it's also a resource allocation problem. If this research isn't done properly, it means that the city's resources and programs will not necessarily be allocated equitably to the residents.
There's an old saying that figures never lie and liars always figure, or something like that. So is sort of what you're saying is that there's research done, it's brought to the city, and someone is interpreting that data and telling them what it means, as opposed to someone having the expertise on the board to analyze the results themselves and gain their own meaning from it.
That's pretty much it. People can throw out numbers and figures all they want, and the city is great at taking numbers and putting a political spin on it to show people the results they want. But somebody who truly understands math and statistics knows to look for error, biasability of the data structures and the data being used, and that's something that I have. So,
excellent. Tim?
Yeah, no, I was listening, but it sounds like you kind of got sparked by this issue with the sewers and wondering how long it's going to take, or
yes,
why is this a big issue? Excuse me. And it's funny because when we grew up in Jefferson Park, and we used our basements used to flood every time it rained, it flooded, and they had that deep tunnel project, and they went on for a long time, and then the neighbors that were smart put in overhead sewers. Right. And that's what I was kind of laughing when you were talking. I was thinking about it, so it's kind of interesting that sparked you. But I guess my question would be, what difference do you think you could really make being one of the council members if you win next week? What difference? You're going to be one of, there's 3 seats that are open. You're going to be one of 6, 7 people.
Well, right now the city puts a spin on everything they do, and that's something that I can point out. The city needs to start being honest with its residents, and it needs to be more upfront and transparent. And somebody with my background can point out every time the city is not being honest, and
Because it is kind of a part-time. I mean, it's pretty much you get like $1,000 a month, and you get an expense account, and you're pretty much more of an advisory. They have a village manager, which we've yet to hear anybody criticize. Anybody ever comes on the shows, huh? City manager. I'm sorry. I keep saying village, and I keep forgetting that Elgin is a city, and producer keeps throwing pencils at me to remind me.
You brought up a good point, if you don't mind me jumping in.
Absolutely. No, I want you to.
You said we have a council manager form of government. Now, there's a group out there called the Citizens for Council Management Government, and they have defined the role of a councilman as the councilman is supposed to bring initiatives forward to city staff and to the manager, and they are not supposed to be involved in the administration of this in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Now, over the years, we have seen our councilmen get more and more active. The city manager form of government came into Elgin somewhere around 1955, I think. And I would imagine if we look in the 50s and early 60s, you'll see councilmen that had their hands off of government completely. Now we have Councilman Warren and Mayor Schock were accused of getting too active in the senior services.
That was recently, right?
That was just recently,
last week or so. Okay. Yeah, I did read something about that.
And my position has always been from day one, from the very first forum I went to, I said I want to take more of a hands-off approach. We need government has to understand that it has a role and it cannot exceed those roles.
Well, it's kind of politicking. I mean, you're basically, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to use the word grandstanding, but I'm going to use the word grandstanding. You're a politician. You represent the needs, and you need to get out there. Seniors is a big voting block. I mean, you get seniors, they start talking to each other.
That's true. I have no problem with what they passed. My problem is with the role that the council played. They exceeded their powers.
Is there other examples other than that? I did read about that. That was a big to do in the council, and started yelling, and it was online too, actually. Yeah, there was a big video online about that.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that. It was last week or 2 weeks ago.
I think
But don't you expect that? I mean, in an election, don't you expect some kind of I don't want to say pandering, but basically, okay, wouldn't you expect that? Especially now, more so than any time. Sheet coffee cakes and the cookies, and coming to the senior citizens and saying, "Look what I did for you," and everything else, and that's how you get elected.
Unfortunately, that's true. That is how you get elected. It's the big problem, the ethical problem, is you're using these good people as, political bait or political objects, essentially, that you can buy, and I have an ethical problem with that.
So how do you campaign? What do you do? I mean, just how have you campaigned? Because the elections, we're at the final stretch here. How have you campaigned?
I've campaigned mostly through Facebook, the internet. I have started going door to door, which is something that I kind of wanted to resist. It's hard to tell people you want to keep government out of their lives, and then show knocking up on their door, interrupting their lives and saying, "Hey, vote for me. I'm going to keep government out of your life." So I had a little bit of an ethical problem with that, but my opponents are sending out mailers, and they're going to outspend me 5-10 to 1. I've done very grassroots-based fundraising. I've raised probably about $600, which paid for my signs, paid for some flyers I'm putting out, and it's...
Well, we've had our second favorite to hate guy who talked about Mike Nolan, in case you didn't know who that was, and he talks about how he got elected with shoe leather, and he's gone. I think Mike Nolan has probably knocked on every single door in his district, if he hasn't at least once, and I mean, that's how you get elected. I mean, people want to see. I know when I was out helping in the elections, people were like, hey, where's the candidate? Where's the candidate out here? So I'm just, bringing up the subject here. I think that's how you get elected. The shoe leather, as he had said on this show so many times.
There is a pretty recent development that's hopefully going to help me get elected here. A couple of neighborhood groups, the Near West Neighborhood Association, the Southwest Area Neighbors, and the Neighborhood of Southeast Elgin came together and formed a committee to save the Route 20 bypass.
Sure, we've heard about that several times, and the roundabout and all kinds of other things.
Yeah, and they looked to endorse a couple of candidates, and so they ended up endorsing me and another candidate named Mike Robbins, and they would like us to essentially encourage the city not to do the $98,000 traffic study pattern on Route 20, and ultimately to try to keep the city from turning Route 20 into another Randall Road.
Yeah, I'm looking over at our producer because we got 2 minutes left. What we want to do is give you the last 2 minutes to address the constituents.
Could I ask just
absolutely.
one
Sure.
real quick question? Another candidate was on here, and they said that turning 20 into a thoroughfare similar to Randall Road really would increase property values, would increase bringing more business in, increase more jobs because of the accessibility off of that. And now you're saying, hey, I'm here to keep Route 20. So there was an argument made for moving forward. Really, what is your argument as to why it's beneficial to keep it, or what the detriment of going the other route?
Well, right now, the city was awarded funding to improve the McLean exit. And right now, that's a big backup area. Now, if the city were to go forward and fund this study, they would lose the funding for that, and they would be put back on the bottom of IDOT's funding list or project list. So this would be a long-term project, and we'd be giving up immediate benefits. Then we'd be slowing traffic down. And there's a lot of people who use 20 essentially to bypass the city so that they can travel east a little bit easier and quicker, and we might lose people to the far west, and we're already struggling to get people to our far west.
Okay. And if I remember correctly, isn't McLean the major exit for the Elgin Community College? Is that why it backs up there so much?
That's part of one of the reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, Tim. Would you
okay.
rephrase that last? You were asking about his last 2 minutes.
I was just going to give you like the last minute and a half for 2 minutes just to address the people of Elgin, and why would you be the best pick for Councilman?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm pushing for an open and honest government. My background is in science and research, which has a very open and nature to it. You know, we have our studies, we keep everything out and open, and we encourage people to essentially challenge us.
Black and white.
Yeah. And approaches like this need to be taken, and we need somebody with the training to put a check on some of the power. The city puts a lot of political spin on the numbers and the figures that they use, and we need somebody who's going to be honest with residents and make sure that this is held to a minimum.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on the show, and we're going to take a break, and we have another guest that's coming on. So thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much. Take care.
And we'll be back
Good luck.
with Left, Right, and You in just a few minutes.